Good morning, YouTubers. Thought I'd do a short little video review of a CEN-TECH 7-function digital voltmeter or multimeter that I got a coupon in a Harbor Freight circular that if I came in and visited their store that I could get for free. So sure enough, I went by Harbor Freight, browsed around there. I never end up leaving without buying something, but anyway, sure enough, I presented them with this coupon, and I received this digital multimeter for free. That's right, folks, absolutely free. No purchase even required. I could have walked in there and gave them this coupon and got this multimeter for free. Anyway, I thought I would do a quick review of it and see what you get value-wise for your free multimeter. So let me go ahead and unpackage this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I unpackaged it. Basically, you get the multimeter and a set of testing probes. I do like they're kind of, they feel like they're that silicone type wire, so they're pretty flexible. Got no complaint there. I think they used the banana plugs to plug them in. Yeah, I noticed it actually even came with a battery. Wow, that's awesome. So, free, and it even includes a battery in it. As you can see, this is your selector switch. We'll go ahead and we'll do a few little short tests here and see what the accuracy of this thing is. I'll set it for DC 20 volts, and I'll go find me a AA battery, a new one, and we'll test the voltage. That should be, I believe, a new AA battery, like a Duracell, probably should be somewhere in the 1.60 range, probably 1.58 to 1.62, somewhere in there. That would be a fully charged new alkaline battery. So anyway, let me hook these probes up and get a Duracell battery. Let's do a DC voltage reading and see how accurate this awesome multimeter is. Okay, as you can see, I've now hooked my probes up, but you want to hook the black one, the 90 degree into the common port, and then since I'm doing DC voltage, you want to hook it in it. In fact, the only time you're going to use that top port is if you're doing current. So we'll go ahead and basically you hook it up with the black bottom one and the second one up, which it shows for voltage, ohms, and AC/DC. So here I got me a brand new battery here. And let's just see if I can do this one-handed here. We'll do a negative to positive, and we'll put it across here. Like I said, it should read somewhere in the, I'm guessing 1.6 volts. See if I can do this one-handed. Sure enough, there you go. Well, there you go. 1.61 volts. That is very accurate to what a new Duracell battery should be for AA. Okay, so we verified the DC voltage is reading, and it is reading accurately. Let's do a real quick AC voltage test. Hold on just a second. I'll hook the probes up into a socket, and we'll see what we're getting as far as AC voltage readings. Okay, now as you see, I've set it to AC voltage, 200 volts, and I have it plugged into an AC socket. It's actually a current monitor, but basically it's showing me AC voltage, and it shows 122.1 or 2 volts, which is very accurate. That's right where my voltage shows to be at my house. So it verifies that it does do a good job of reading AC and now DC and now AC voltage. Let's do another test to see what it does. Let's give me a resistor and see how it does on reading the resistance on a resistor. Okay, I dug out this is actually a 5-watt ceramic resistor. I figured it'd be a good one to show. This should be within, tolerance-wise, I would say probably within 1%, so 495 to 505 ohms would be an acceptable reading for it. I do know this is a good resistor. So let's go ahead and set it down here, and we want to set our meter to ohms down here on the bottom, and since we know that's a 500 ohm resistor, we'll set it for the range of 2000, so it should read 500. Obviously, if you set it in another one, it's just going to move your decimal point over, but it should read 500 from there. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. A little bit tricky kind of do this testing one-handed, but let's lay the probes across this resistor and see if we get 500 ohms. I just put it across the resistor, and look what I have is 498 ohms. And there's probably a little bit of resistance in the wire, so that's definitely well within tolerance. That's 0.002, I guess is what you'd say, compared to and I'm not sure, you know, these resistors actually have a little bit of variance in them anyway. So 498 ohms checks out to be a good 500 ohm resistor. So far we've checked DC, AC, and ohms, and this meter seems to be doing a very good job of that, and it seems to be just about as accurate as any other meter I've got. What other test can I do? That real simple quick test. I guess I could do a current test. To do a current test, what we'll need to do is I'll need to move my plus wire up to the top probe, and then the way you test amperage or current draw is you put it in between your load. So basically what I'm saying is I'll find a 12 volt item around here, and basically what I'll do is I'll hook the ground up to the ground pole, and then I'll hook these two probes in between the positive probe so that it actually pulls the current through the meter, so that I can see what the current draw is. Okay, you can now see that I've moved this top probe wire up to the current draw, and I've set it to read up to 10 amps current draw or load. And now what I did is I actually used that Pelcher cooling system that I built here just the other day, and it should be pulling around 2.5 amps is what my guess is. So let's go ahead and see. I'll go ahead and hook up the load here while I hold the camera to the just like I suspected, 2.5 2.52 2.51 amps. So I know that this DC circuit that I'm using right here is pulling 2.5 amps. So it verifies that it does do a good job of reading current as well. What other tests can we do to this meter? We'll go ahead and do a continuity, which is really handy for if you're troubleshooting, you know, a wire break or something like that. Basically, what you're doing is you're hooking the meter in between a wire to see if it has continuity all the way through it. In other words, it doesn't have a break in the middle of it, which that's a really simple test. Hold on, let me move the meter, which I just would need to move the meter over here to where it shows diode and continuity. And if it is reading accurately, it should be somewhere around 0 when I touch the two probes together. Now mind you, there's going to be a little bit of resistance due to the fact of the length of the wire, but it should be it should zero out, or close to zero out, maybe 002, something like that. So I've got to move my probe back down to ohms and AC/DC and continuity. Now that if I touch the two probes together, it's like so, it should zero out, and it does. As I suspected, there's a slight bit of resistance at 0.2 or 0.0021 there, which basically that is zeroed out, which is any meter I use is going to have that, because there is, like I said, a little bit of resistance in the wire. But 0.001, so you know, now you know if you're testing a wire, if you hook one end of the and the other end, you should get a reading of not open like that, which it is verifying. I guess the only downside to this meter I have so far I could say is I do wish it had a continuity tone on it. It's kind of handy when you're like under a dash or something trying to trace a wire to not have to look at the meter and hear a tone. But you know, for the price, considering it's free, I can't complain, and it is reading continuity as it should. So there we go. Boy, that's a that's a short sweet test of what 5 functions of the 7 functions. Basically down here is the functions are it'll test diodes, which is just resistance passing one way or the other, and it will also do capacitance and transistors. The transistors, what you want to do is, if you have an NPN or PNP, is take your 3 legs and put them into it would go into the anode and the reflector and the collector, and you would test them that way. I actually meter to check transistors, because you can there should be a difference between the collector and the emitter, and if there's not, then that means it's probably a shorted out transistor. But anyway, that's getting into deeper electronics and testing this meter. But I would probably just use the resistance meter to check a transistor. But it does have the capability to check NPN and PNP transistors. What can I say for the price? This is really amazing. Accuracy seems to be really good. Like I said, it even came with a battery, so it's out of the box, ready to go. Something definitely to carry in your, your small toolbox for short. If you need to check to see if you got AC on a plug, or make sure you've got DC somewhere. It's a multimeter. I mean, it's a multimeter. I mean, what can you say? I'm really impressed that Harbor Freight was able to give this away for free. I remember back when I was 15, 16 years old, I got my first multimeter. It was an analog one, and it didn't do all these tests. I think it did ohms, AC, and DC. And I think I paid like $20 at Radio Shack for that. So to have something that has all those capabilities, it's LED or LCD, so that it, current, as far as battery wise, it'll probably last for long enough that you get another coupon to get another free one. But I mean, wow, Harbor Freight, what a gift! I mean, I'm impressed. Like I said, I couldn't envision back when I was 15 or 16 that I'd be able, with a coupon, to go inside of Harbor Freight and actually get something of this quality for free. So hey, if you get a chance to get one of those coupons, definitely go by Harbor Freight and visit them. I don't even think it requires a purchase. Every time I go into Harbor Freight, I usually end up purchasing something because they have a lot of bargains in there. But anyway, I mean, this is basically a free item for just visiting their store, and I think it's definitely something any handyman should pick up on. Nice to have one of these around. This is definitely portable and something you can use whenever you need something to test. So anyway, my review is way to go, Harbor Freight, and thank you for this awesome gift.